We never started off as an organization. We never started, wanting to set up Bangalore City Mission. This was just an answer to a call of need at that time. They actually started in the front room of my house with 8 kids. Every day they used to walk down to the rock quarries. They used to almost sneak kids out of the quarries and bring them down home. They used to clip their nails, cut their hair, and sit them down to study. It was all about giving them hope. And we felt education gives them that hope. And when there is hope, there is life as well. Well, it was the year 1990 when Mom and Dad actually moved into this community. It was called the Government Wasteland because it was way out of the city. The whole place was just an open field. That was the only place they could afford, and they started building their house there. The contractor who used to build the house brought in little kids to be working at that construction site. Mom and Dad felt this was very, very unfair. They objected to that, and that's when the contractor said, these kids would otherwise be working in a rock quarry, and they actually enjoyed working at the construction site because work in the quarries was a lot more difficult. And that's when they decided, let's do something to help these kids have a better future. When I went along with Dad into the rock quarries for the first time in my life, I was overwhelmed by the kind of difficulty and hardship that people were going through. It was backbreaking, it was painful. And to understand that somebody did that for the rest of their lives was something that I could not comprehend. I said, Dad, why can't these people be doing something else? Why can't they go into other trades? And that's when he told me, because these people knew nothing else. Most of them don't even have a card bearing their name. People die, but nothing gets spoken about because they never existed in the first place. The challenge was to alleviate these people out of that. We were trying to tell these people that 10 or 15 years down the line, they're going to have a bright and beautiful future. Education is so important in the lives of these children, and it just transforms them, and we've seen that change happen in the lives of kids.
I'm Nityashri of Standard 10th. I'm studying in Sinclairs High School. My favorite subject is science. Many people are suffering from heart diseases right now, and they have no finance to pay a lot of money, so I would like to become a cardiologist and make free medical checkups for them. Sinclairs High School has helped me a lot in my education, and what I am today is all because of my school.
Right now we have classes from kindergarten to 10th grade, and children from the rock quarries and very poor communities come to the school, and then they get a privilege of a great education. India is a very diverse country. It's very strange because this is one of the only places that you can see total wealth and devastating poverty sitting side by side. You're only born into a class. You can never raise up out of your caste, and that's how our system defines people. And it is all because of lack of education. A shoemaker's son would always be a shoemaker. A sweeper's child would always be a sweeper. And that's what they would pass on for generations. So education was going to liberate people from that and give them a whole world of opportunity to do anything that they wanted to.
When I was 3 years old, and I was selling vegetables with my dad. My parents didn't have enough money to send me to school, so my dad took me with him every single day. And my dad was addicted to alcohol, and he used to spend all the money he had earned on drinking. So that became a bigger issue in the family because most of the nights we went to bed with empty stomach. As a child, I really had big dreams of becoming someone great in future. And for that, I needed education, but I knew the situation at home. We couldn't afford one meal a day, and where would I get to go to school? But Sinclairs High School the founder, Mr. D.K. Paulraj, and his wife came over to my mom and said, hey, Satish is 4 years old and he needs to be in the school, and why is he selling vegetables? My mom explained the situation and she told them that, hey, we don't really have enough money to send him to school. So it was then that they asked us to register me in Sinclairs High School free of cost. I came out with flying colors in my high school and then enrolled myself into a university and then graduated with a degree in business management. I started working with IBM as a business analyst for a while before going to US and working as a project manager with Compassion International.
I want to be able to set up a system where a child could walk in and know for a fact that they would get quality education, and by the time they're finished, they will be able to take on any challenge in life. There are so many kids that we picked up at the rock quarries who are now into doing so many great things for the community and the country and the world as a whole. We found out very quickly that the main reason for kids to drop out of school was their own families and their own communities. And we had to have something or do something to ensure that we supported their communities and their families as well. And that's when Bangalore City Mission started our community development programs. We engaged the community in a way that we could lead them and support them and stand by them during the time their children were being educated. Things like vocational training, which helped men and women in the communities to pick up newer skills by which they could find employment in other places. And along with that, we noticed that there was a lot of assistance that these people needed in healthcare. People dying because of preventable diseases just because they had no awareness, and that's when we started our healthcare programs with our dispensary. In fact, just last year alone, we had about 5,000 medical screenings that we had performed for these people in these communities.
Dreams need to be nurtured and cared for, and when they grow, they would blossom. As a child, I had great dreams, but I didn't have anyone who would care and who would nurture those dreams. And I think it was at the right time that God gave Sinclairs High School, where they encouraged me every time, telling Satish, you could be a dancer, you could be a singer, you could be a scientist, you could be a doctor. And those words of encouragement took me to the next level where I thought I was special, because there was a God who loved me equally like others. So I studied because of their caring and nurturing. And once I got a job, I was able to support my family.
I've always believed that education is the key to development. Any nation that neglects the education of its children is choking its own lifeline. Education creates an even playing ground. It gives a child the opportunity to become anything that the child wants. According to our motto, educating to empower and enabling to lead a long, creative and healthy life with the understanding that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.